Hi Taurus, my name is Gregory Scott. It's nice to be with you today. I'm going to do your astrology forecast for June 2015, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently this month. I usually do the astrology and I pull a card for you, but I'm going to have a really in-depth look at this astrology this month. I just feel guided to really let go of the overall theme and to really give you an in-depth, really kind of structured view of the astrology this month, to really give you an overall picture of what's going on and the different influences that you're going to be working with. Now, sometimes there's overlapping influences. You know, sometimes you've got structure meeting love, and you've got emotions meeting family, and all of those things, it's like putting a kaleidoscope together, and it offers a really good, complex picture of what you can expect in the month, and I'd really like to do that for you this month. So I'm going to get started with that. You are Taurus, so let me just put you at the center of the universe. Okay, there we go. And for you, Taurus, on the 2nd of June, the full moon occurs in your 8th house, and it happens in Sagittarius. The full moon is a time of blossoming. It's shining the light on something, and it's a real kind of period of things being seen. And you really see, I think, during the full moon on the 2nd of June, the opportunity to move forward. I think you figure out how you can progress. A doorway becomes visible for you, especially in terms of institutions that you engage with, whether you're applying for a driving license and you need to find a way to get that, or at work there haven't been any opportunities and you've been trying to find some. I think that'll really become clear. There's also a grand cross happening in the sky for you on this day, which is a series of 4 squares, and a square is an interaction between 2 planets 90 degrees apart, and there's 4 of them, and these are very, very powerful times. Remember, in April 2015 there was one in the heavens and people were just all over the place, and this happens on the 2nd for you, and it's what it tends to do is it makes you feel pulled in different directions. You're going to be feeling pulled into this direction of work and seeing new things open. Your hopes and dreams are going to start kind of appearing visually for you at the same time, especially dreams around how can I make money. And then I think you're going to go a little bit overboard with it and start really projecting into your future. If I get this promotion, then I'll make much more money, and then I'll meet the woman of my dreams, and then we can own a yacht, and then we can cruise the south of France. And you just get a little bit carried away with yourself. So take it one day at a time. See what you can do today on the 2nd of June, and just go with that. Don't try and figure everything out all at once. Now, a few days later on the 6th, Venus, the planet of love, Aphrodite in mythology, the embodiment of love, she's in Leo in your 4th house. And she moves into Leo in the 4th house. So what that really indicates is that you become very you warm towards your family, you become very much interested in connecting with them, in having a good time and having fun with your family, and to really shine some positivity and some love and some good feelings into that. So it's a great time to meet up for a wedding, or to meet up for like a family event, maybe outside in the sunshine, you know, an afternoon in an outdoor restaurant, something like that. It's really about, you know, the sound of cutlery clinking and laughter and children running around and champagne and all of that stuff. That's the kind of vibe that I get for the 6th when that shift occurs. Because Venus was in Cancer until now, which has to do with family anyway, and now it moves into the 4th sector of family, but it changes sign into Leo, which is all about you, which is about being compassionate and warm and shining a light. You know, if you're in the Serengeti or whatever and you see a lion, you don't usually miss them. They have an air about them, they have a certain confidence, and that's really you with the goddess of love. You're really warm and you just want to take people in your arms and hug them. Now, there's one of the outer planets has been in a sextile kind of aspect, which is 60 degrees apart in the chart, with Mars, and that's happened since the 31st of May, so the end of last month, and it goes until the 11th of June. So those 2 weeks are going to be a time for you when Jupiter, the planet of good luck and good fortune, connects with your sense of drive and desire and what it is you want. And a sextile is a kind of relationship that almost blends the two. It's a kind of gentle nudging between the two. Okay, Mars isn't that gentle ever, and its desire is to communicate about practical things, and Jupiter is in the fourth of family, so you can really sort something out in a positive way without getting too heavy. So, you know, for instance, if you're all having a good time at this family event, or if you're meeting up with people you haven't seen for years, you can kind of box that off and talk about it in a practical way and say, hey, we haven't seen each other for 2 years, and make a joke about it and make it okay, you know, and kind of smooth things over. That's really what I get, rather than get really heavy about it and sit down and have in-depth analysis of why didn't we see each other, does that mean we don't care about each other, who resents who. I feel that there's a light way, a kind of surface level social way of fixing things which has really profound effects underneath and which really helps to mend relationships. And that's around the first 2 weeks of the month. So it's all about building bridges. Mars and Jupiter, very, very masculine. It's you taking charge, you taking the bull by its horns, you taking charge of this situation in a really charming, light way. You know, like James Bond, he does things and he's ultra masculine to the point where it's almost sickening, but he gets things done and he has a light touch, and that's really what you have. A light touch to affect change in your relationships with family members. Okay, so Saturn is trining Venus at the same time, so there's a lot going on in these first 2 weeks of June. Saturn trines Venus between the end of May and the 12th of June, and this is another really kind of light connection. It's when two planets are 120 degrees away, and Saturn sits in your 8th house of institutions and other people, and Venus is in your 4th house of family. So it's really interesting. It's almost like your ability to appear in your family and to really show yourself and to be kind and to have a good time really structures your place in the family. It's almost like you're uncovering a new identity. Not there's, you know, there's Quentin who always causes trouble, or there's Cindy who's always kind of focused on herself, but this is someone who loves us, who's someone who's an important part of our family, and we're glad he or she is here. Saturn is that structure, and it's that structure within something greater than yourself, which can be the family, and your positive input really gets people to react really well back to you. So that's great. So important to kind of make some time for people and to make the best of that, especially if you've been, you know, if you're the black sheep of the family, if you've had some issues and people haven't understood you. It's not because, you know, often people don't fall out with families because they're bad people. It's because there's miscommunication and people have issues in their lives that they're not sometimes able to overcome, and other people have no compassion for that, and that can often split families apart. It's not so much you slept with my husband, it's more like, why don't you choose to do something with your life? I don't understand that. And that's what I've found in my experience that often drives people apart. So it's a good time to mend those bridges. Mercury comes out of retrograde on the 12th. And Mercury is the planet of communication. When he's in retrograde, it makes communication more difficult. And when he comes out of retrograde on the 12th, he's in Gemini, which is the sign he traditionally rules. So he's very comfortable in that. And he's not just going to start communicating more easily now. It's going to be a floodgate of communication. And you're going to be very good at communicating practical matters this month. Money, practical considerations in relationships, houses, signing contracts, work commitments. All of those things are something that are within your scope this month, and you're really able to operate within that realm of experience very well, especially from the 12th onwards. So this is a good time for you to launch a product, to sign a contract, to speak to your boss, any of those official things where you have to have a good head on your shoulders. Now, Venus sextiles Mercury, and it does that between the 8th of June and the 13th of June. And Venus, again, the goddess of love, she's making a lot of appearances this month. Mercury is the planet of communication, and when these two connect, it means that this is the week, 8th of June to 13th of June, to talk to people. Mercury's come out of retrograde, Mercury then connects with Venus, you speak with love, you think with love, you communicate with love. People will hear that, people will sense that. You know, if I've got an ulterior motive, but I'm saying, oh, I love you so much, I only want the best for you, people are like, hang on a minute, that doesn't feel right. And that's not what's happening. You're really, genuinely, your heart is in the right place and you're able to communicate that and bring people together. So Taurus, for you, this is really a wonderfully practical month that allows you to really build bridges between you and other people by taking practical, self-assured action. Okay, now the outer planets I've mentioned already are very, very slow moving, and Pluto has been in an aspect of a square with Uranus since March 2012. And a square is an area of tension. It's when two planets are kind of 90 degrees apart and they interact with each other in a way that causes friction. That comes to an end on the 13th of June for the first time. They move so slowly that they kind of move back and forth a bit, and they will reconnect in a couple of weeks or so further down the road, so in July. But for the first time since March 2012, so really 3 years, that tension eases off. And the tension has been all about Pluto in your 9th house, so discovering new things, and Uranus being really rebellious and really bringing in new energy into your spirituality and trying to find something. So I think you've been on a real mission since 2012, Taurus, to discover something deeper about yourself, about life, about the purpose, the meaning of life. And I really feel that on the 13th of June, you can breathe a little bit and you can relax and say, hey, it's okay if I don't find all the answers to life overnight. You're not going to be as driven and super ambitious in terms of finding a spirituality that works for you. You're going to ease yourself into it. And that's almost like, you know, when someone's trying too hard, it's often very difficult to make progress. But then when they relax and just take a breath, you can move forward. And that's what I feel on the 13th. Saturn, the planet of structure and foundation, that moves into Scorpio on the 15th of June, and it stays there until the 18th of December. Now, Saturn is going to be in Sagittarius for 3 years. And it's only over this summer that it retrogrades back into Scorpio. And it means that there's a reluctance for you to examine difficult emotions. You're going to be much more interested in being practical, exploring new things, and keeping things kind of light and practical rather than delve deep into the emotional kind of sector. If there is something within you that's been plaguing you for a while, this is a good time to push against that and to really uproot it and to really look at it. So for instance, if you know you have had abuse in your past or addiction or grief that you haven't dealt with and you've just been kind of running away from it a little bit, this summer would be a good time to really look at it in depth. But the tendency is going to be to keep things light and to move away from that sort of thing. So you have a choice there. It's not going to particularly bother you, but if you want to take that time out and really make progress, then there is a real possibility to uproot kind of painful patterns that have been causing you problems for a while. Now, the new moon happens on the 16th, and that's in Gemini, in your 2nd house. And the new moon is a time of energy and pouring in your intentions and seeing what you'd like to do in the future. And that's about, again, 2nd house is practical matters. Gemini is air. It's all about thoughts and ideas. So what are you going to do in terms of, are you happy where you live? Are you looking to change your job? Are you going to launch a new product to make more money, but really the energy is all about you being able to move things really, really quickly and changing things around in a very, very good way. So set the intentions in terms of your finances on the 16th. It'll allow you to make real progress moving through the month and to really pour some energy into it. Now on the next day, Jupiter conjuncts Venus in your 4th. And again, Jupiter is growth and good fortune, Venus is love, and when they conjunct, they meld and mesh their energies. And it's in your 4th house of family, so you will feel so loving towards your family. You will really want to connect with them in a way you've always dreamt of, and I think you'll be able to do that. I think you'll get very, very close to your family this month, and you'll enjoy a sense of closeness that you haven't had for a long time. The same planet Jupiter also trines Uranus in the 12th, which means that once you relax from that spiritual quest that you've been on to find something, and you just let it go for a little bit and you're not on such a crusade about it, you will make real progress in that area between the middle to end of the month. It's kind of in its last tendrils of connection there, if that's a word, and it ends around the 22nd. So really look at that and become aware of some of the messages that are coming through without you even trying, because I think you'll receive something quite good. I mean, you know, you can go to different religions. I mean, I did this a couple of years ago. I went to the Krishnas and I did meditation, and I went to a regular church and Scientology and Christian Science and all of this stuff, and I was like, I need to find my church. I need to find where I belong. And I was trying. And then after a while, I just kind of became more comfortable with my own spirituality, and I just kind of let that go to try and fit into some sort of religious structure. And when I let go of it, I just kind of blossomed within myself, and my own spirituality came out of me. One that I was really pleased with and happy with, and I'm still happy with. So it's the, you know, it's the change of approach. Rather than bang your head against the wall, you just allow things to happen. Now, at the end of this month, Mars goes into Cancer on the 25th of June. It's been in Gemini in your second. So your desire to create, to be practical, to change ideas and make something, it now moves into Cancer in the 3rd. So you start to communicate with more emotional depth, less practical, more frustrated, I would say. Mars isn't particularly happy in Cancer. So it's a mishmash of ideas and feelings now at the end of the month, and it's using your ideas sometimes to actually manage your feelings and not to go with everything that you feel, because Mars can get a little bit frustrated in that sector. Okay, so I hope that's given you an idea of what's coming up for you. If you'd like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. And remember to subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to send me an email, you can. The address is readings@gregoryscott.co.uk. Have a fantastic June, and I'll speak to you soon.